Welcome to Fix and Fly, the business podcast, which identifies common business issues for you to watch out for in your day-to-day business life. So tune in every fortnight where we speak to leaders of corporates to SMEs where you can implement their strategies into your business. I'm your host, Larissa Logan from Fix City, where we help turn businesses around. Hi, Kadon. Welcome to the Fix and Fly podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I was really interested to speak to you around neurodiversity, which is your business, and how it works in people's lives and in business. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and your own business?
I'm a teacher by profession, so I'm a qualified teacher. And about 7 or 8 years ago, I started my own practice working with children who are dyslexic. And then it just expanded to all neurodiverse because most students or most people who are neurodiverse, they usually have more than one thing going on. It's never like, I'm just ADHD or I'm just dyslexic. My business is called Open Minded, but I practice just under my name at the moment. And what I've been doing over the last 7+ years is helping families, students, and individuals navigate their profile, their neurodiverse profile, how it shows up for them, and how they can be successful in their lives, whether it's just school, business, or personal relationships. And the way that I do that is helping them understand their profile because each person's ADHD, autism, dyslexia looks very different for every individual. So helping them understand how they show up and what's working, what's not working.
So your business has been word of mouth to date for 7 years.
Yes, unbelievably. I can't believe it. Absolutely just word of mouth.
So the demand must be there.
Yes, the demand is there.
Are we seeing a greater increase in the diagnosis of these neurodiverse conditions?
Yes, we're seeing a greater number of people being diagnosed. My business first started out working with younger students, primary, intermediate, and now I do mostly with high school students, college-age students, and adults. I have some adult males that I work with, and it is, whether you're diagnosed or not, diagnosis is really helpful, but people are finding it struggling to navigate their relationships, work, school, and they're not understanding why. So even if you're not diagnosed, but you've got these tendencies of not being able to focus or not getting things done or frustrations, someone might refer them to me and go, well, they're having a really hard time with this. Maybe have a chat to Kadon and see what she thinks. Parents and people will come to me like, oh, they're actually struggling with a specific like school or being late to work or something like that. And then find out it's actually a bigger picture and then hone it down to how they're showing up in life and what struggles that individual's having. Because I think that when people experience struggles, their relationships and their community experience it as well, but it's very different to how that individual's experiencing it. It's like, oh, you're always late. Why don't you just get up? Can't you just do this? And there's a reason why it's hard for them, and they might not actually understand it.
Yeah, and I think neurodiversity in business, right? There's pros and cons. So you've just talked about some of the struggles and challenges that neurodiverse individuals may have, but it's also a superpower.
Oh, definitely.
Can you tell us about some of the characteristics of the superpower that someone may have if they have neurodiversity?
Oh my goodness, the creativity is next level. Some of them do have hyper focus, but when they are interested or doing something that they love, it's like they will know the ins and outs of it all. They will get it done. They will get it done fast and do it really, really well. One of the superpowers is once they find a niche or a love, they will just go for it. Even in school, like I have students that are amazing artists. They struggle with the rest of school. Now, if they understood that, hey, I can only focus on one thing at a time and I can do that well, they could manage the rest of their schooling program or their other projects to work to that strength rather than being overwhelmed and doing nothing well or getting nothing done. It's like, let's just set things up so that you can focus on one thing at a time and do it really well.
It sounds like characteristics of great entrepreneurs. Are there
For
some?
sure.
Are there some great entrepreneurs that you know that?
I don't personally know, but we all know of some of them. Like, Richard Branson is a really popular one that they talk about him being dyslexic. And there's many, many people. I can't name any off the top of my head for New Zealanders, but there are definitely famous New Zealanders that will talk about being neurodiverse. I'm sure Nathan Wallace might be. I'm not 100% sure, but he comes across and that he works in that space, of brain health and how your brain works. So yes, there are many, many people out there who are entrepreneurs that are very successful, and most of them struggled at school. If you talk to any of them that are entrepreneurs that are successful, that are neurodiverse, they would have struggled at school. Being put in a box, doing it exactly this way, factory worker type of mentality where neurodiverse people just profiles don't operate in that way. And let's be honest, the world doesn't operate that way. They operate in the space of doing things creatively, focused. Like if we have a job, we generally only have one or two big things that we're doing for that company or for ourselves. We don't have 6 or 8 big things that we have to do that we're not good at and only one that we're good at, which is how kind of school is, isn't it? But as an entrepreneur, a neurodiverse one, it's like the world's your oyster because you can just literally choose what it is that you're good at, what it is that you're interested in. The struggle with that, I think, is that if you don't understand your profile, the failures or challenges can overshadow your success in that one specific area because society, academic structures want you to have this high level for everything, which then increases the overwhelm and inability to shine in the 1 or 2 areas that you'd be amazing at.
It's so interesting that you talk about people fitting into a box. I read a statistic that neurodiverse individuals are 8 times more likely to be unemployed. And I guess that's because they don't fit into the box in normal businesses, right? So they're struggling with processes, with tasks, with attention to detail.
Well, I think attention to detail works against them if they have to be attention to details of things that are not important to them or they don't see value. It's great if you can have your own business and be neurodiverse, but I think you still need some support around it. If you understand your profile, then you probably need less support and less coaching. But you would be frustrated if you're like, oh my God, this is a great idea, and then you kind of do it and then you don't. You need support to understand what structure works for you in order to be successful, and you will try a lot of methods. And having some support, like that didn't work, doesn't mean something else won't. But society doesn't look at it like that. They look at, oh, you can't do it this way. That means you can't do it.
So what tips and tricks would you give to business owners who have neurodiverse staff?
Flexibility, for sure, flexibility. Look at their strengths. It's very challenging, I think, for society and for businesses and schools to work from a strength-based mentality, which means that you're looking at they do that really well and working around that in order to get the most production out of them, get the best product from them, get the best results from them. But if you're focusing on the details of what they're struggling with, one of the areas that a lot of neurodiverse individuals struggle with is executive function. I'm not sure if you know what that is, but executive function, a general definition would be how to organize things, having things, being able to plan something and execute that plan. So a lot of the work I do is helping people understand that part of executive dysfunction to find ways to create a system, a method that works to that. So if you need to sleep in because you're going to be amazing if you do sleep in, why make them get up and be there at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m.? Because they're not going to be at their best, and the level of frustration, overwhelm that might be happening in those hours is going to impact the best result you can get in the afternoon. So being really flexible about where, when, and how they accomplish what it is that you need them to do.
I think that's some really great advice. So I do a lot of my heavy thinking and my kind of brain power work in the morning because that's when I have the most energy. And then after lunch, I'm kind of focused more on administrative type stuff that's kind of easier. I don't need so much energy and brain power to do. But I've learnt that over the years that I have to break up my day in that way to be able to get the best performance out of myself.
Yeah, and the most success. But what if you didn't know that? What if you just were in an environment, whether it's work or school or even your own business, and you just kept what you felt like was failing because you weren't doing it from 8 to 5 normal working hours, or
under someone else's structure
under
that they've set up.
or society's structure.
Yeah.
Because society says to you, you should be working from like in the morning till 8 to 5. But what if you worked from like 12 to 7 instead, and you got better results? Or what if you didn't work, late nights because maybe you are a morning person and you get up and you're like, right, I'm smashing it from 5 a.m. and I'm done by 1. After 1 o'clock, I'm just going to like do the living of life, the mundane tasks that don't require a lot of creativity, a lot of brain energy, those types of tasks that still have to get done.
Do you have any examples that you can provide of kind of real cases, don't use their names, of people that have come to see you, adults who have been in business and you've been able to help them along their journey to be able to kind of turn their life around?
Oh, wow. Okay, so recently I'm doing something at the moment which is neurodiverse related, but it's more for business rather than for the academic mentoring that I do and the educational advocacy work that I do. And recently I've been doing quite a bit of it, but I do have a real life example. A very good friend of mine who started her business at the same stage as I did, she's been working word of mouth. And what I did for her and her ADHD was we make a marketing roadmap for her for the year for her business. And what we've done is, because often as a neurodiverse ADHD type person, you go for the next shiny thing. And so it's like, oh, this, and then this. And then you forget that you need to stick to a little bit of a plan in order to get the most business, the most success, financial and otherwise. What I did with her was we go through a system, like a process of taking every idea that you've ever had that you wanted to do for your business that you haven't done, every idea that you have done that's worked, you put them on individual Post-it notes. You put it on Post-it notes, you put tons of them out, and then we go through the process of putting them into quarterly calendar. So we break them to 4 quarters, put them down. I go through a process with them, with her, and now I'm doing it with a few other business women. In actual fact, I'm running a masterclass for Empower Her coming up in a few weeks on this. But what it did for her was it helped her achieve the goals of diversifying her business. So now it's not just one-on-one. Now she's doing one-to-many. And she's doing it in areas that she's educated herself in and upskilled herself in. And she's been able to follow this kind of roadmap. And so now we do it every year. We spend half a day, a whole day, going through this process. And the end result is she's been able to achieve more success and reach more people with her expertise. And it's been amazing to see the confidence that she's had in diversifying her business and being successful with that, rather than just going, oh, I have this idea, and then never doing anything with it. The big picture concept is really important, I think, for neurodiverse people. Whether they stick to it or not doesn't matter in the beginning, but once you establish that big picture, then it's out of your head and on paper or on your computer, and you can kind of look back at if you want. But the most important thing is that you're not holding it in your head and then never doing anything with it.
That's some really great advice. Do you use that in your own business?
For sure.
For planning?
Yeah, I do, because I am like undiagnosed ADHD. I do it in my business, probably not as successfully as I have done for other women and other people in business, but that's mostly because my business has been a single strand, which has been one-to-one. So I haven't actually needed to do it. I am doing it for this upcoming year, for 2026, for myself, because I am diversifying my business. So if I want it to be successful, I need to do that. And so I'm in the process of doing it myself, for myself.
So what are some of the challenges that you see ahead in the next 12 months for your business to grow, to diversify?
I think the biggest struggle or challenge for me might be going online. Which everyone seems to think, oh, it's easy, just go online and post this and do that. But there is a method to that madness for it to equate to value, to equate to financial independence and success. There is a formula and there's a way to do it. I've been really good at finding other people who are experts in that space, which I think that's what you have to do. That's a really big thing for neurodiverse people to overcome, is to allow someone else who's an expert in an area that you're not great in to take over a space and to build that trust so that you can do what you are great in.
That is the advice I always give to my clients. You don't have to be perfect at everything. You don't have to know everything, but get the right people around you to support you and your business. And whether that's someone, running your socials, building your website, your accountant, you're a lawyer, whoever. So I think that's some really great advice. So I think there's some changes to the health system coming up around getting diagnosed for ADHD. I think that's going to drive demand for you.
It is.
And so if you're scaling, what are some of the challenges? You've talked about bringing together the community. You're going to have to obviously get your online platform, website, socials, whatever sorted. How about staffing? How do you find enough qualified people to be able to support you in what you do, because there's just not enough in this country?
No, there isn't. And this is a real life challenge for an ADHD neurodiverse person, is what if that person can't do it the way that I do it? That's everybody, but for the neurodiverse person, it's even a greater struggle to trust that someone can do what I'm doing, to create the space that I do. I have had a few other academic tutors come on board in my business, so that's been helpful, who do content tutoring for a specific thing. But even in that space, I have to have a session with them, with my student or with the person that I'm working with, to know that they understand how that person operates. It's like, can you create space to understand how they operate so that you can help them to improve and be more successful without the judgment that already exists out there?
We've talked about managing staff who are neurodiverse. Anything else that you think that these business owners could take away and implement in their own business?
I think the most important thing, and this is in whether it's business, school, families, any relationship, is curiosity. I know that sounds like woo-woo and out there, but I think if someone isn't performing or doing something in the way that you want or the way you think they should be doing it, but you think they can do it, they're not. I would be curious as to what's happening for that person, because if you see their ability, their talent, their skill, but somehow it's not coming out in the way that you want, be curious as to what's going on. Is it the time of day? Is it the time pressure? Is it they haven't had enough notice? Is it the environment? So if you're curious as a business owner as to, I hired this person, they're amazing, but we're missing something. If you're curious, then you, rather than being demanding and frustrated, have that open-minded, curious conversation with them about what's going on, how would it work for them, what's going to work best for them. And that's valuing that person, and that straight away you're going to get more commitment from that employee, from your staff, from your business partners. So I think curiosity is really, really important. And even, one of the other kind of bylines that I go by with curiosity is the awareness, acceptance, and action. So everyone's aware of how they're working or not working and how they're operating, and they go straight to action. Let's fix that. Do it this way. Don't do it this way. Where if you stop in the middle in the stopgap of awareness, and acceptance, you're going, okay, I'm accepting that you actually are a morning person and having to wait till 9 o'clock. You've wasted 4 hours, 3 hours, and I could just let you come in at 6 and finish early. Like, now we're accepting who they are and how they operate. And now you're going to get way better results.
Yeah, which has to result in better performance and hopefully better profits.
More
better
success.
bottom line. Exactly.
Which is what we're looking for. But also just you want commitment from your employees and from your staff and from your colleagues, business partners. And when you do that, you get that natural, even if it's not their business, when they feel that curiosity and value, they're definitely more invested.
As a business owner, how would you actually have that initial conversation with a neurodiverse employee to set up appropriate structures around them?
I think it probably starts because there's a little stigma. It's getting less and less of a stigma being neurodiverse, but people aren't willing to go, yes, hey, I'm great at this, but actually ADHD, I'm a little bit autistic. Straight away, there's this like, oh, I don't want to tell anybody. So I think if as a business owner, you just casually just put it out there, say, hey, are there any challenges that you have? Do you have any neurodiverse characteristics? Because I'd love to know what they are so we can use them as your strength to build your investment in yourself and in the company. Once you create that conversation, there's a safety and then being able to say, actually, today is going to be an amazing day. I'm going to get this and this done. And then other days, I'm going to be, oh my gosh, because of that, I've put so much out over the last 3 days, I'm actually just brain, and so I need to have half a day. And you understand it rather than working really hard, doing this amazing stuff, and then they crash and not understanding it. If there's a conversation at the beginning of acceptance of it, and they may not admit anything, but eventually over a period of time, after they've been well-behaved for the first few weeks, those little gaps, those little things, those little characteristics will show up and you go, uh-oh, what's going on there? They're late. Uh-oh, they haven't turned that in. Oh no, they've missed this detail. And instead of going hard in, just be curious and say, hey, notice this. Not a problem. Let's figure it out.
I think what happens in some of the corporates that I've worked in, I have had staff like that. Mm-hmm. And then honestly, within 3 months, they're on a performance plan.
Yeah.
Which is, but...
It comes across really negative when you say performance plan because now you're in trouble.
Yes, exactly.
Let's do it before you get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. I think, to be honest, there's a real opportunity to be able to get the most out of neurodiverse individuals because they're hyper-focused. As long as you can work around what works best for them, you are going to have a good performing staff member. What is some of the best business advice you have ever been given?
I think the best business advice I've ever been given is pay yourself first. So I didn't pay myself first in the beginning. The money came in, I put in the business, money came in, I paid for this and did this, and I wasn't having long-term benefits from my success. And also the other best advice is what we talked about earlier. Get someone to do what you can't do or what you can't do well. Like get an accountant in. Get someone in to do your invoices if that's an admin thing. That was a thing for me. I remember years ago, oh my gosh, I didn't invoice for like 3 months.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so do you know what my cash flow was like? Oh my gosh, I had over, 20-something thousand sitting out there. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I need this now. And then that's when I released my control over someone else looking at my timetable to create my invoices. Got someone in that helped me. She's been doing it now every fortnight or every month when I need it. Whereas before I'd be doing when I've got time. And so, yeah. So the best advice has been pay yourself first. Get people and do the things that you're not great at. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just you're more valuable in other spaces.
That's some really great advice. Thank you so much for joining us on the Fix and Fly podcast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited to see and share my knowledge with other people. And if you have any neurodiverse clients, businesses, anyone that wants to reach out, I'm sure Larissa will put my details somewhere at the bottom of this podcast. So if you need to reach out to me, feel free.
Thank you. See you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you enjoy the Fix and Fly podcast, make sure you like, comment and subscribe and share with anyone you think will find this useful. We look forward to seeing you next time.